It's the store your father has cherished. So I think you should listen to his opinion. I suggested to Max, who was blabbering about the cash flow problem. My husband Max, who refused to listen to me, said, "This is my store now, and I am the boss. So don't disobey me." The second-generation president with no experience and an arrogant attitude will be punished very soon. I am Carrie, a 32-year-old housewife. My husband Max is 6 years older than me, and we've been married for 3 years now. We have no children. Max works for my father-in-law's fresh seafood store. The store located in a shopping arcade for a long time, and it used to be a lively street when Max was little. But now, the vibrantness has gone with shutters down, even during the daytime. Since a commercial facility was opened nearby, it has become difficult to run the store. Even on holidays, when the parking lot of the commercial facility is full, it is rare to see more than a few people walking along this arcade. However, my father-in-law still goes to the fish market every morning to stock up on fresh fish for his store. Thanks to his efforts, the store is still lined with the same fresh fish as it was in the past. But times have changed, and it seems like a mirage that they were sold out by the evening. Yet, my father-in-law's customers are still coming to the store because they are fascinated by his personality. Max's mother passed away from illness when Max was a child. After that, my father-in-law single-handedly raised Max on his own. Max and I live in an apartment nearby parents-in-law's house. Our dream is to eventually build a house. And for now, we are living a simple, modest life for our future. My father-in-law is very supportive of us. He gives us fresh fish every day, always more than we can eat. Recently, we have been visiting my father-in-law's house more and more often to eat with him. The more time I spend with my father-in-law, the more I love his kindness and humanity. My father-in-law loves to drink. He drinks with Max and happily talks about the old days. Although it was the same story every time, I loved that scene so much that I wanted to watch it for the rest of my life. But the happiness didn't last so long. My father-in-law's store was even more difficult to run than I had expected. But he still went to buy fresh fish every morning. Whenever I saw the dinner he served using his fresh fish, I sighed instead of delight. However, my father-in-law still runs the store. I didn't feel right to interface. Max was trying to say something to his father, but I stopped him. But one evening at dinner, my father-in-law, unhappy with the way Max was working, gave him a warning.
"Hey son, you know Mr. Hudson, our regular customer, right? He told me that he couldn't carry on a conversation with you the other day, 'cause you were on your phone all the time. You are in charge of the store when I'm not there. So please do better,"
he said half-jokingly, and Max snapped.
"Oh, the regular? The old guy, huh? He just talked a lot and tells me the same story over and over again. I don't know why you want to waste your time with them. That old man talked a lot, but he only bought a piece of fish. I'd be glad he stops coming, don't you think?"
My father-in-law's face changed at that comment.
"What are you saying, son?" Mr. Hudson says he looks forward to coming to the store every day. He's been coming to the store for decades. How dare you treat such a loyal customer like that? He comes here with his walking stick, going over several supermarkets just to buy a piece of salmon. You should be grateful.
Max was upset even more and said,
I would have told him to go to that supermarket instead of coming all the way here. I don't want to be patronized for only a few bucks. Well, seems like I still can't trust you with the store.
When my father-in-law said to that Max, he couldn't keep his mouth shut.
I mean, you are too old-fashioned. What are you doing buying tons of fresh food that you can't even sell and forcing ourselves to eat it for dinner every night? You know, the store isn't making profit, right? If that's the case, there should be a better planning, like stocking up more canned or frozen fish that lasts longer. What are you doing, struggling yourself by thinking about others?
To be honest, I was thinking Max had a point, but my father-in-law was determined.
That's no good. It's going to shake the relationship we've built with our customers. They trust me. They come to the store because they trust me. If I did such a thing, I would destroy what we have built up over the years. I want to sell the freshest fish at the best price to the customers who come to my store. Look, if you don't want to run the store, I don't care. I'm not gonna change my mind.
With that, he went up to his room. That was the end of the day. I thought they would make up soon because they were father and son. But after that big fight, my father-in-law and Max rarely spoke to each other. They stopped drinking together, even though they used to enjoy drinking together so much. They also stopped talking at dinner, and gradually we didn't get to eat together. It was during these days that my father-in-law became ill. He had always loved to drink, so his liver was weakened, and he was unable to come to the store for more and more days. Whenever his father can't, Max would go to the market to stock up. The main attraction of the store is supposed to be fresh fish, but most of what Max got was canned or frozen fish. Max is trying to do his own way. My father-in-law was ill himself, and he no longer said anything. The regulars who came to talk to my father-in-law every day made a U-turn and left when they saw that he wasn't there. I'm sure he wanted to come back, but he's getting older now. His health is not as good as we would like it to be. So my father-in-law gave up and decided to give the store to Max. Max was very motivated, and I thought that was a good thing. I thought it would be nice if the day come when he and my father-in-law could get along again and enjoy drinking together.
Let's try something new for a while, Max said to me. Once the store is back on its feet, I'm hoping we can stock fresh fish again and make it like my dad's store. But I'm the boss now, and Carrie, you are the boss's wife.
I sympathize with him, and even if it's difficult right now, I think it would be wonderful if we could someday have a store with fresh fish like my father-in-law's store. So I continued to help with accounting and paperwork for the store. When he first took over the store, Max made flyers and stuff. But things didn't go very well. I guess he didn't enjoy it because the result didn't come along quickly. Eventually, Max stopped going to the market. The next thing I knew, the store was filled with canned and frozen food, not a single fresh fish. However, this didn't mean that we didn't make a profit. We have also opened an online store and slowly increasing the number of new customers.
See? I told you we can increase our sales with my help. Dad really should have left the store to me earlier,
he said. I couldn't say anything about it because sales were actually going up. My father-in-law, who had complained at first, didn't say anything anymore. Contrary to my expectations, the rift between father and son has only deepened. Lately, I haven't seen them even exchanging a word. Finally, Max took advantage of this and started going out of town for business trips. And Max wanted me to expense whatever money he spent there. He brought a lot of receipts, taking advantage of the fact that I was the accountant. I didn't accuse him of most of it, but there were more and more things that I couldn't help but notice. I told Max that such misconduct would not be tolerated and that we would be in a big trouble later. But Max, as expected, would not listen to me. As we were talking, he told me that he was going to LA tomorrow for a business trip. He also handed me a receipt for reserved plane tickets for 2 people this time. Who are you going with? I said.
Huh? Chill out. He's just a consultant. Someone you don't know. Anyway, I'm going to bed now. I have an early day tomorrow, and I'm tired.
He wouldn't listen to me at all. I cried in frustration that night. The next day, I couldn't keep quiet. So I talked to my father-in-law about it.
I'm sorry you were having such a hard time, Carrie, he said.
He asked me to have dinner with him for the first time in a while. Then I went to my parents-in-law's house and talked to him about what happened yesterday. My father-in-law is a very sincere man. As we talked, I gradually opened up to him and told him that I was suspicious of Max's recent behavior. Then my father-in-law opened his mouth, even though he was a little hesitant.
The truth was, Carrie, Max has not been in the store these days. He told me not to tell you, so I kept quiet.
I was surprised, because Max always coming home saying he was tired. And my suspicions became more and more certain that Max was having an affair. Everything made sense. Too many business trips, receipts, and this time, a business trip to LA. And he even took $3,000 of store money without permission. I had no choice but to investigate thoroughly. When I told my father-in-law everything, I felt much better. And I was ready to fight. My father-in-law said he would help me, and I was grateful for him. Then Max came back. He said the trip was to receive a consultation, but it didn't look like he learned a single thing. He gave out a lot of receipt to me like it was nothing. No, you can't expense them. You'll get into a lot of trouble if you keep doing this. When I said that to him, Max expressed his anger.
What? Who do you think you were talking to? I'm the man. So shut your mouth. You just listen to me and do what I say.
I snapped.
No way. How can you talk to me like that after all the support I gave you?
Do you even have any idea of our recent sales? We don't get enough orders from the online store anymore, as if it's already closed. Even when we open the store, all that comes in is air.
If you don't work, there's no income. You know that, right?
Everything I have been holding back until now has come out. Then Max became furious.
Shut up. I'm divorcing you anyway. I've written the divorce papers right here. You are the reason the business don't go well.
As he handed me the divorce papers, already filled out, he was even cursing me. I was so frustrated that I called my father-in-law right away, and he came to see me. He was at the store that day, and I was worried about his condition. I am sorry. How was the store today? You feel okay? I said to him.
No worries. No one comes to the store anyway.
He laughed and said it was no big deal. Just talked to him a few words, and I began to cry.
I'm sorry. I couldn't do anything for you, Carrie. You've been through a lot.
My father-in-law said.
Please, call this number and this person will help you, okay?
He gave me a business card. It was a lawyer's name. My father-in-law continues.
I'm sorry, Carrie, but the store is over. Or rather, has been over for a long time. It was over when it was not a fresh fish store anymore. Carrie, I think you should leave, my son. You don't have to go through this nonsense anymore.
I agreed with my father-in-law. I always felt guilty because I felt like I was a part of a fraud. To tell you the truth, it's a relief that I can get away from that. I'm going to sign and submit these divorce papers. You were always there for me, and I'm gonna miss you so much.
Well, maybe it's gonna be better. We can get together as friends from now on, you know?
He smiled at me and said so. Soon after, I called the lawyer. I gave him my father-in-law's name. He immediately said yes and started listening to me. It was a quick conversation.
Let's go to the lawyer's office together with the deed of the land.
My father-in-law said.
This guy is one of our regulars and a good friend of mine. My own son can't run a business anymore. You should also visit this private detective later. I know the guy very well. You can trust him. Carrie, I love you as if you are my own daughter. I want you to be happy.
He was right beside me through all this, trying to settle things quickly for me. I told the lawyer what was going on, and he went to work on it immediately. And the lawyer was decent enough to understand the situation and said, I think it's better to ask the detective to take care of it. Let me handle everything. Don't worry. Your father has been very kind to me. I'm happy to return the favor. I don't know if I'm repaying him by exposing his son's affair, though. The lawyer laughed. That's okay. I am more concerned about this beautiful daughter than my stupid son. He laughed and said it was his duty to correct his son's misdeeds. I, for the time being, decided to stay at a business hotel. I was already exhausted being attacked by Max. Soon,
We had tons of evidence of his infidelity. When I had all the materials, I went to see Max. And then Max acted as if nothing had happened. To my dismay. Well, we gathered a tons of evidence of your infidelity. I would divorce you as you wanted, but you would have to pay alimony. I'll make sure both you and your precious girlfriend pay. As I was saying this, my father-in-law arrived. I'm done with the store. What kind of business owner you are? Doesn't show up or doesn't stock up the shelves. So Max, the store is closed. Don't worry, the paperwork is already taken care of. You'd better get a job. It costs a lot of money to fool around, right son? And you can't write it off as an expense anymore, he said sarcastically. Max looked a little frustrated. What do you mean the store is closed? You can't do that. I'm the owner now. I can sue you, you know. My father-in-law, on the other hand, was calm. Son, you said you would take over the business, but you didn't do anything about it. Everything was still in my name. Were you even aware of it? So I took care of all that. You have nothing to do with the store now. And then I went after Max, who was in shock. I will go file the divorce paper now. Thank you for everything. Since you were gone a lot, I was able to move out without a hitch. Carrie, wait, please, Max said as if he was whispering. There was no way I was gonna wait. Soon after I left home, I rented an apartment near my new office. The move was completed in half a day. Divorce papers were filled and was finalized. I am free now. What happened to my father-in-law? Well, he sold the house and the store. My father-in-law's connections are amazing. Because of his good-natured personality, everyone wanted to help him. My father-in-law was a well-known figure in the arcade, so he had a lot of admirers. He's been saving up for a nursing home since he was young. He found a great nursing home right away. And of course, everyone welcomed him. One day when I went to see him, I was so relieved to see him looking so happy. Well, now let the lawyers take care of the rest. Carrie, you're a good girl. You have to be happy. Okay? My father-in-law told me. I can't believe he is the parent of a lousy ex-husband, Max. How sweet and warm person he is. I thought to myself, if there is one thing I can be thankful to Max, is that I met my father-in-law. I later found out that the person he was having an affair with was a young girl. She was really young, about the age of a university student. When my lawyer contacted her, she told him she didn't know it was wrong to have an affair. What an excuse! So he contacted her parents as well to ask for alimony. Then the couple broke up as expected. Max lost his job, his family, and his girlfriend. Adding to this, he also evaded taxes. Seems like when the company went bankrupt, he was investigated. He was hit with unpaid tax bill. He couldn't get a loan from the bank, So he borrowed money from a consumer credit company. Hope it wasn't a loan shark. Max is currently working part-time at a late-night gas station and construction site. I really think that he could work so hard. He should have started working in the first place. The only thing I think is great about him is that he is scared of the lawyers and the alimony is never delayed. My father-in-law and I contact each other regularly. Every time I hear his voice, he sounds full of life. And as for me, I'm working every day. Work has helped me through the times when I was somewhat lonely. I think I'm gonna take a break from romance for a while. Thanks to the alimony, I've made a lot of money. And now, I'm thinking about buying a condo. I promise myself to continue to work hard and become a truly independent woman.
My name is Kate. I live with my husband Michael. We inherited a restaurant from my grandfather, which we run. This restaurant, Sunflower, was kept by my grandfather for a very long time. It was loved by the locals and had many regular customers who ate at the Sunflower. However, even though our grandfather stayed very active owner of the restaurant, he was also battling cancer.
I can't be resting in a hospital room. I should be out in Sunflower working till my very last day.
Even when his condition worsened, my grandfather did not show any signs of weakness and kept on working. He continued to serve delicious food with a smile and enjoy the conversation with his regular customers. And today, my grandfather passed away with his family watching over him. My grandfather named me, his granddaughter, as the heir to the restaurant, Sunflower. He knew his time was coming, and he left behind a very precise will which describes the inheritance of the restaurant Sunflower. I decided to inherit and follow in my grandfather's footsteps to become the owner of Sunflower. Thankfully, even after my grandfather passed away, the customers never went away and kept on eating at Sunflower. The employees who have worked with grandfather stayed to work with us. Since I had watched and practiced my grandfather's cooking style all my life, I was confident that I could serve the same delicious food as my grandfather's. Since my grandfather worked so hard to keep his restaurant, he was well received by the regular customers who loved eating grandfather's cooking.
Wow, it tastes just like the grandfather's. Even though he is gone, it tastes like as if he is still here with us.
The regular customers were very happy with the fact that they were able to continue eating grandfather's cooking. I was becoming more motivated since Sunflower was thriving well even after my grandfather was gone. However, Michael, my husband, was becoming increasingly dissatisfied ever since my grandfather's death.
Restaurant owners should be run by men. Why should you inherit it?
Because I am the granddaughter. Even though I own this restaurant, you will be running it with me, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, but...
Since Michael wanted to become the owner of the restaurant, he would complain about it sometimes. However, I am the top chef of the restaurant. Even when my grandfather was alive, my husband mainly did the shopping for recipes but never cooked. I've never heard a restaurant owner who can't cook. I should have not been that stubborn about it and give the ownership of the restaurant to Michael, but my grandfather precisely named me as the heir. Since I was named as the heir of the restaurant, I strongly felt that I should not disrespect my grandfather's wishes and will.
Kate, can I have another one of this?
Sure, coming right up. The restaurant continued to thrive and we were very busy every day. Then one day, someone came to visit.
Hey, Michael, it's been a long time.
It was my husband's younger brother, Dave. Dave was quite horrible. He never had a proper regular job and is just fooling around for his age, and honestly, I do not get along well with him. He had moved far away last year saying he was going to work, but then he quit that job and came back again.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Even though he is horrible brother-in-law, he is an important brother to my husband. Michael was very happy that his brother came back.
I heard that your grandfather died. Michael, did you inherit the restaurant? No, I didn't inherit the restaurant. What? Did your wife inherit it? No way! She's a woman! Woman becoming the owner is a joke!
Dave was laughing, being very oblivious to the customer's annoyed stares. I couldn't be bothered to deal with my horrible brother-in-law and just pretended not to hear him.
Since I am the family member, can it be on the house? Yeah, sure.
My brother-in-law ate a large set meal, drank beer, and left without paying. He is that horrible. Hey, even when the other family member comes to eat at our restaurant, they always pay. It's not fair to the others, so please make my brother-in-law pay if he's going to eat at our restaurant.
What? It's okay. He doesn't have any money. We should support him a little bit.
My husband seems like he is on the side of Dave. After that, Dave continued to eat and drink at the restaurant regularly without paying anything at all. Every time Dave would come, I would tell Michael to make him pay, but my husband never listened. Since I was very persistent about my brother-in-law paying, my husband became annoyed by me and we stopped talking to each other. Dave started coming to the restaurant more often while my husband and I were becoming distant to each other. Every time my brother-in-law would come, my husband and him would go to the kitchen to talk in secret. I bet they were talking behind my back. I pretended not to care about them and continued to cook and serve the customers. Dave was having this conversation with my husband while glancing at me as I worked busily.
Is there any way that you can own this restaurant? My wife is the owner. Since the location of this restaurant is great and there are many customers, why don't you own the restaurant and make the profit all yours? It must be hard to have your wife as your boss, isn't it? Well, yeah.
Dave had his eye on Sunflower and was planning to own and run this restaurant. While Michael and I was on bad terms, my brother-in-law was trying to get my husband, who was frustrated with me, on board with his plan.
But how could we make the restaurant ours? I have an idea.
Michael and David began to make plans in secret. Michael has agreed to Dave's idea and decided to go through with it. Next day was restaurant's close day. My husband left early and I spent the day alone. Even though it was my day off, I remembered that the kitchen needed some cleanups. I decided to use my day off as the cleaning day, so I went to the restaurant. When I tried to open the door to the restaurant was already opened. I thought I forgot to lock the door last night and entered the restaurant hurriedly, finding Michael and Dave inside the restaurant. "You're here." The door was open, so I was very surprised. "Today is a close day. Why are you here?" When I spoke to them, they were both smirking as if they were planning something.
I have something to tell you. Since you have inherited this restaurant, I don't like the way you've been acting like a stuck-up.
I was not being a stuck-up.
Yes, you have been. Don't you think so? Yes, you are being a stuck-up. Since the restaurant is thriving and you're making profits, you're feeling good about it.
What are you saying? I was getting very annoyed and angry because they both talked to me as if I was an idiot. While I was getting furious, my husband was taking out documents on the table.
I don't like your attitude. I can't take it anymore. Let's get a divorce.
The document was an already filled out divorce papers. Since this was too sudden, I was astonished. What? What do you mean by this? I was upset because I did not understand what my husband was talking about. The first thing that came to my mind was the continuation of the restaurant. I have few employees, but I am sure it will be difficult for me to run the restaurant for my own after the divorce. This is too sudden for me to take it all in. It will be hard for me to continue as an owner if I get a divorce.
About that, we will buy the restaurant from you. We will start the restaurant by me becoming the owner of this restaurant, so you just leave.
I couldn't understand what my husband was saying.
It's such a waste since this restaurant has a great location with so many customers with such a bland menu. So we will renew this restaurant. Yup, so just fill out the divorce paper and get out.
Since they were speaking nonsense to me, my brain just froze. This is the restaurant my grandfather was the owner of for the longest time. We have enough profit from it. We should continue as it is for our customers.
That means you are not going to change nor improve. Then this restaurant will go out of business in a short time. Since we don't want this restaurant to go out of business, I will run it for you, is what I'm saying.
No matter what I say to them, he didn't even try to hear me out. I am sure Michael was brainwashed by Dave.
Okay, I will buy this restaurant by your named price. I'll make that money soon anyways, so I don't care how much.
I couldn't be patient with them being so arrogant. Fine then. Then I will sell it for $500,000. Just give me 2 weeks to prepare the divorce papers and the contract paper. Don't visit the restaurant for those 2 weeks. Since I agreed that I would sell them the restaurant, they were just overjoyed. There was a reason why I would sell the restaurant to them so easily. They don't even know the reason about it and was just being selfish and thinking only about their own profit. I was able to run the restaurant by myself until I gave the restaurant over to him.
Hey, where's your husband?
We are actually getting a divorce.
Why so sudden? Then, are you going to run this sunflower all on your own?
No, this restaurant will be bought by my husband. I will be quitting in 2 weeks. The customers were surprised with a very worried face. But do not worry, I have a good news. I gave the customer the flyer which I recently made. The customer who saw the flyer instantly looked relieved. 2 weeks later, I presented my husband and my brother-in-law with a contract to sell the restaurant and the filled-out divorce paper. Now, you have nothing to complain about. Michael signed the contract immediately without any hesitation.
$500,000. I am transferring the money to your account now, so this is my restaurant now.
Michael and Dave were overjoyed. While they were celebrating, I packed up my belongings and left the restaurant. On the way to submit the divorce papers, I couldn't wait to see what the two were going to do with the restaurant. Michael and Dave immediately opened the restaurant.
I've already explained the situation to the employees, so there shouldn't be a problem running this restaurant without Kate. All right, let's make some money.
The two were fired up and got ready to work. At 10, when the store opened, there was an unusual scene.
Why isn't the customer coming?
Usually, the customer comes when the restaurant opens, but no one was here. Employees who were diligent to come to work also did not show up. Michael tried to call the employees but wasn't able to get through to them. Since this has never happened before, the two began to panic. When Michael got out of the restaurant, he found a regular customer walking by.
Hey, aren't you our regular customer?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
I was worried because you didn't show up when the restaurant opened. Come in, come in.
But I heard your wife quit. I was a regular customer because I wanted to eat her food, but since she's not here, there's no reason for me to come and eat here.
Don't say such thing. Don't worry, we can serve you a delicious meal.
Michael half forcibly pushed the customer into the restaurant. The customer reluctantly enters the restaurant and looked at the menu to order.
What is this menu?
Since I am the new owner, I have renewed all the menu.
The menu did not have any of the original menus of Sunflower. The menu had exotic words which were difficult for the customers to understand, which made the customers less excited to order.
Fine, then. I will have the steak.
Coming right up.
Michael and Dave began cooking with great enthusiasm. Since the customer never saw my ex-husband cook, the customer was not looking forward for the ordered food.
What is taking so long?
Here we go.
After 40 minutes of wait, the dish was finally served. The customer's eyes widened when she saw the steak which was served.
What is this?
What Michael served was not called cooking. Only 3 slices of meat was placed in the center of the plate. The outside of the meat was burnt and the inside was just raw. There was no sauce nor side dishes, but only bread and soup.
Since the quality of the meat is fine, the seasoning is only salt and pepper. The meat is cooked for you to enjoy the savoriness and the rareness of the meat.
The customer couldn't pick up the cutlery since the steak did not look appealing. Even the soup looked very cheap.
I'm not going to eat this.
The offended customer got up and tried to leave the restaurant. Michael was in shock when the customer didn't even try to take a bite.
Hey, you're going to pay for this. It'll be $30.
$30? Are you joking me? I am not going to pay for this piece of shit.
The customer left the restaurant furiously. Since this was not expected, my ex-husband and brother-in-law was just in shock. At the same time, they were starting to realize the mistakes they have made. Michael, who never cooked, and Dave, who never had a proper job, cannot run a restaurant. This is obvious if you think about it, but the two who were only thinking about making profit failed to realize this fact. Sunflower, with the 2 new owners, never saw another customer entering their restaurant again. I, on the other hand, was starting a new restaurant in a different location. It's called Sunflower Second. The employees who worked for the original Sunflower are also with me. In fact, this restaurant was also inherited from my grandfather. My grandfather was concerned about the continuance of the Sunflower as the building was getting too old. So, he made a new restaurant at a different location. My grandfather wanted to tell people about this new restaurant after it was built, but he passed away while it was in building. This new restaurant, too, was inherited by me. I never told my husband of this existence of the new restaurant. 2 weeks prior to selling the Sunflower, I advertised about the new restaurant to the customers. The regular customers of the original Sunflower came to my restaurant because they wanted to eat my cooking. Thanks to the customers, the restaurant was very busy from the first day it opened. We were able to afford to hire new employees. I also made the $500,000 from selling original sunflower, which made it easier for me to give my employees a raise. At the new restaurant, with the original menu, I also added and served my own original menu also. In an effort to broaden my customer base, I tried to make menus which can cater younger crowd and food that even small children can eat. This became a success, and more people visited my restaurant with their families. The new restaurant grew by keeping my grandfather's original menu with new menus to adjust with the younger generation. Every day, I was very busy, which gave me the feeling of fulfillment. Michael and Dave was at loss. They borrowed to pay me $500,000, so they have been receiving the debt reminders.
What are we going to do about this? You are the one who started this. You should do something about this.
Since Dave was not expecting this outcome, he didn't know what to do. Then, he comes up with an idea.
I have a good idea.
They came to my restaurant unexpectedly at the busiest time, lunchtime, to proceed with his good idea.
Help us, Kate.
Dave shouted loudly without any care of many customers dining.
Michael had an injury on his arm. He can't cook anymore. We will return you the restaurant, so could you just give us back the money we paid for it?
The original sunflower became your restaurant. You have signed the contract paper. Be responsible and work hard. I didn't take Dave's words seriously and tried to get back to work. Then, my ex-husband entered the restaurant looking like he is in pain.
Kate, help me.
As he acted out, I didn't look at him and just tried to return to the kitchen when the customers were murmuring.
Whoa, what is that?
It looks so painful. Is he okay?
Since the customers were talking about him, I looked at Michael and was shocked. He had a biggest bruise on his arm. Wait, you were really injured?
Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Then go to the hospital right away. I hurriedly called the cab and sent my ex-husband to the hospital. During my lunch break, I went to the hospital to check on Michael. Then, Michael came outside from the hospital as if he had just finished his medical examination. When I tried to ask them what was going on, they turned away from me and just ran away from me. I had a bad feeling about this, so I asked about him at the hospital reception. I think a man named Michael was seen here for examination a few minutes ago. Is it finished? Because I'm here to pick him up.
Hold on a second, let me check.
By using Michael's name, I tried to find out why he was injured. However, the receptionist seemed puzzled.
There's no history of a man named Michael visiting this hospital for a checkup. Maybe he went to a different hospital?
Michael never got a checkup. Remembering that the two were running away, I knew that they were hiding something. So hurriedly, I tried to catch up to them. After driving my car for a few minutes, I was able to find Michael and Dave walking. I stopped my car and grabbed my ex-husband's arm. I knew it. I looked at the hand I grabbed, and I see that the bruise was gone. Michael and Dave tried to run away, but I held his hand tight. Since I looked really angry, they gave up on running away. Why is the bruise gone? You're not injured, are you?
I didn't know that running a restaurant could be this difficult. There are no customers coming to the original sunflower, so we are not making any money, which makes us not being able to pay off the debt. So I pretended that I got injured, so I cannot work anymore, which I thought I could get the money back from you.
Wow, I cannot believe this. I can't believe that you were trying to deceive me with such a childish lie. I let go of his hand. Well, from now on, I want you to stay out of my life. That restaurant is yours. You do something about it. After I said that, I got in the car and returned to my restaurant. I felt disappointed when I saw them in the rearview mirror while driving away from them. The two then put Sunflower on the market at the earliest. I think they decided to do that in order to pay off the debt, but since the restaurant's building is quite old, it was difficult to find a buyer. The two worked without any sleep because they kept on receiving large number of the debt reminders. They deserved this life because they were selfish and greedy and abandoned what was important to them to achieve easy money. As for me, my new restaurant is thriving more than ever before and the profit has doubled. A regular customer who has been coming to the restaurant for a long time offered to be trained by me, so now I have an apprentice. For not letting my apprentice turning into the selfish, greedy person just like Michael, I would teach them running a restaurant is not an easy job. I am continuing to work very hard to make sure that my grandfather's restaurant will be around for many years to come.